All right, so let's talk. So the bracket. Let's talk about the bracket. I wanted to see the bracket of the entire top eight. There's only two people who I don't know. I don't know Marco Del Pivo, and I don't know Stefano Vinci. It looks like they're both Italian. Correct me if I'm wrong. And if I'm not mistaken, they were also on the same team. But one's playing, or they're both playing Team of Rhinos. I haven't seen the deck list, so they may even be playing the same 75. I haven't checked, which would be very impressive. I know Kai Boot also on Team of Rhinos. It seems like Team of Rhinos was the most prevalent deck in the top eight, but probably the least talked about. I think the reason for that is that going in, I think it's somewhat common knowledge that the I don't know, Primeval Titan decks and the Karn decks, like, maybe they just beat up Team of Rhinos. That was kinda my impression. Obviously, Force Negation quite strong, but, I think the 2 4/4s are able to be dealt with something as simple as, like, a Worm Coil Engine, and sometimes not you just can't punch through or whatever, but, it is a very fast deck. It got a little bit more consistent, I think, with Lorien Revealed. Some of the Planeswalkers just get absolutely dumpstered by Subtlety now. So it doesn't surprise me, I guess, the Team of Rhinos was gonna put up big numbers. It was 10% of the field going in. I thought that it had pretty decent matchups across the board. And I thought Yawgmoth was gonna be in the top five different decks, and uh, Team Rhinos has a pretty good um, Yawgmoth matchup. As for Amulet Titan, I know that there was some discourse on the days leading up to the event, and even including Dom Harvey on Twitter, talking about playing Amulet Titan, how he thought it was going to be, mid to good. He hoped it was going to be good, and then, after he top beta, he quote tweeted himself, and he's like, "I guess it turned out pretty good." It's like, yeah, guess it did. But Dom's basically Amulet Titan master. Has played the deck, I don't know, basically as the only deck he really plays in modern for the last 6 years, 5 or 6 years. I know that um, in the late 2010s, he was playing on the SCG tour a bunch and playing the Amulet Titan deck and honestly iterating on it in really cool ways and playing versions that people didn't really think about or talk about, even since. And he was still just like winning with these unconventional builds. Like one of them, if I'm not mistaken, he's playing Amulet Titan with Through the Breach in it, and we all thought that was kind of wild because we thought the deck was pretty good at making 6 mana, but there were times where like you just couldn't. You can only make five because of weird Azusa stuff, or I think at the time like Explore, Summer Bloom, stuff like that was going on, and I think Summer Bloom had been banned for quite some time at this point, but Dom had still just like found cool ways to rebuild Amulet Titan, and honestly helps regularly shape what I would consider to be the stock of the archetype. Most people, when they talk about different archetypes, I think Dom Harvey is one of the front runners for most knowledgeable about the archetype and most eloquent. His writing is quite good. He wrote for Star City for some time. I know he has a Patreon for his podcast that he does with Ari Lax. I believe it's called. I forget what it's called. Don't quote me on it. But I've heard it a couple times before. They're pretty good. Some magic themed name. Can't remember. Anyway. Oh yeah, and it turns out Dom was supposed to get ninth place, or maybe even 10th place. I'm not really sure, but he ended up in eighth place because two people who were playing for top eight ended in an unintentional draw in the last round. I believe it was Alex Hayne. I forget his opponent. But they were Blood Moon versus Ensnaring Bridge, like Tron versus Scam or whatever, and neither of them could get out of the other one's lock, and so they just went to time playing a fake game of Magic where neither of them can win. It was very strange to me, but ultimately, you know, they decided to unintentionally draw, as is their right. So here's my rooting order in we'll say, person I'm rooting for the least to person for I'm rooting for the most. I don't know Marco and I don't know Stefano, so they are my 8 and 7. However you want to put them is up to you. Don't really care. Javier Dominguez is probably number 6. I would say Dom Harvey's probably number 5. Beardsley number 4, Nielsen number 3, Kalkana number 2, and Kai Bood number 1, I think, something like that. I have wanted to see Kai Bood's rise to dominance again for a long time. I am a big Kai fanboy, and it's so strange meeting him in person and talking to him. He's of course, like, everyone is just a normal guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go up to somebody who is famous or like pseudo famous in like a weird field, they're still down to earth. Like, if you go to a mega celebrity and say like, "Hi, Kanye," or whoever, uh, that's a bad example. If you go up to Oprah and you say, "Hi, Oprah, can I have your autograph?" She would turn into Oprah, right, and amuse you and write and sign your autograph, right, because that's Oprah. But if you come up to me and say, "Hey, Tandy, can I get your signature?" I'd be like, "Sure," and then I would sign your thing, and then I would say, "Thank you, have a good day." Like, I don't know. It's just he's just Kai's just like a normal guy who has normal jobs, and but to me, when I was a kid, he was fucking the juggernaut, man. He was crazy. He won 7 pro tours, like 2 or 3 once in a row. And even in that day and age, like, fields were a bit smaller, but the competition was stiff. And many of the players who were competent in that day and age, having top eights in that day and age, still make top eights to this day, including Gabriel Nassif. You know, I don't know, Paul Rietzl, those guys, just paragons of the game still. And he just beat them all, man. That's it. He just beat them all. The fucking juggernaut. Anyway, I'm rooting for Kai. I'm so glad that they have Cedric doing in-game commentary. Just a ridiculous number. Just a ridiculous percentage. All right. I fucking love Kai and I fucking love Team of Rhinos. I would like everyone to know that I giggled a little when Kai followed me on Twitter for the first time in like 2014. I want to say 2013, 2014. I just get this notification and I'm at like a bar or something, you know, and I'm just like, I do the soy fa I do that, and you know, that's cool. Well, Kai Bood, yeah. Hey, get up there. All right, come on, get down, get down. There's just cat hair all over everything now. Weird. Shout out to our sponsors, Apex Gaming out of Caldwell, Ohio. The Apex Gaming weekend is going to be on 8/11. Check out apexgaming.gg for more information. Also, a shout out to Brainstorm Brewery podcast, Slice of Life Magic podcast. Features one of my favorite humans, Cass Lynn, talking about all things magic. Phil Magic, thanks for the prime sub. Appreciate you, family. Oops, all forces. Need to land. I think that's a subtlety, but I think 2 violent outbursts in hand as well. I might force a vigor this or force a negation this. You know, you do not want Calc to have Tron. You know what I'm saying? What else are you gonna use it on? The payoffs? You never want to counter the payoffs. You want to counter the enablers if you can. Hey, hey, stop it. Yeah, there it is. Ooh, it is a Charlotte's agent. Nice. All right, and then finds it. Hold on. Need a mine. Need a mine. Oh, I didn't see the 5th one. Didn't see number 5. Yeah, Jordan, it's just like here is the most aggressive 4 drop we can play in one of our bad matchups. You know? The deck is very soft to the One Ring. Bone Crusher Giant doesn't really cut it anymore, and Bone Crusher Giant has to target like self or whatever to get any damage in, or I guess like your 4/4 Rhino or whatever. I actually really like Insult to Injury. It's extremely punishing, but very much in the same vein as Questing Beast, except Questing Beast is green, so it can be pitched to force a vigor out of the board. It's I don't know. It's kind of like your Murktide Regents in the deck. Like they just replaced the two of the three Murktide Regents for it. You know, the addition of what's it called? Lorien Revealed added so many more blue cards to the deck that people are kind of messing around with the spells, you know, because they can. They just have an abundance of virtual mana sources because they have extra blue cards and extra lands. You just no land. Ripperoo. We all were talking before the event and talking about how the deck should be playing more lands, even with the Lorians. They just want to be pitched a bit. I mean, you have to, yeah, I don't know. Seems bad. Land of Beast just hammers? Hell yeah, it does. Spanks them. Two more lands? Wow. Dude, the one of Chalice on the board for the Karns is so good. That's so good. That's a big tilt if you're Kai. Suspend it and throw up in your mouth. I would concede if I were Kai, you know? Just I know what's up. You can't win. Doesn't matter. That would just be boss shit, you know, like 0%er? Yeah. I think I'm at a 0%er right now. Yeah, there was a lot of chalices in the tournament too. There was a lot of sideboards with two chalice in it. All the Karn decks had at least one because of this shit. It's partial like the turn 3 Karn is also partial at some of the Tron decks were playing a talisman too. I thought that maybe they should be playing, you know, more Mindstone type shit for turn 3 Karn. It actually is one of the reasons why the Thought Not Seer Eldrazi build of Tron is like very appealing to me right now. Hey, move. All right, I'm pretty sure this is 0%er. I'm gonna fast forward because Kai won't. Oh, did the game just go forever? No. Yeah, a new game started. Okay. Sorry. This is the same game. Fast forwarded 3 or 4 turns or whatever. Nothing happened on Kai's side. But the next game starts pretty quickly and goes pretty quickly, so it's so hard to find the right spot. Alright, I'm just gonna start here. Okay, Kai's on the play. Kai suspends Crushing Footfalls, Calc on the draw, plays Urza's Mine, and Chromatic Sphere. Alright. No, Gerber, I was not awake at 4 a.m. to watch the Pro Tour. I was a sleepy baby. Alright, Nick. Where's that? In Discord? Oh yeah. I don't know what half the cards do, but I love me some Into the North. Think Lord Revealed's underrated? I think the people who've played with it already understand it and what it's a fundamental change to the deck. It's actually extremely weird because it's essentially just adding blue sources, and the only thing adding blue sources does is makes force negation and subtlety better, right? But that's great. And it's so close to being an actual land because land cycling 1 is very easy. And if you have 1 or 2 Lorien Revealeds and 1 physical land that taps for mana, that's basically the exact same in this deck as having a land, you know? And it's not even just a land, it's basic island under Blood Moon effects or your own Blood Moon. It's Ketria Triumph if you need colored sources, you know? It's a lot. Yeah, it does make Blood Moon matchups a joke for sure. Nice, Thomas. That's sweet. Subtlety and Lauren are a perfect couple. Yeah, that's true. I agree. More blue sources. Actually, so I read about in my article from like last week or whatever. I wrote about Lauren Revealed's effect in the Team of Rhinos deck at this Pro Tour, and with you know 3 copies in the top 8. I haven't checked, but I would imagine that all 3 of them have for Lorien Revealed. And if anyone wants to double check that for me and let me know, I'd appreciate it. So I don't have to pull up a web page. But that makes sense to me because the addition of Lorien Revealed is it's not arguable because it's a fundamental deck building change, and it's seamless, and the immediate implementation of something that is seamless is almost unquestionable, right? Like it's just good. It's just good. They did, yeah. All of them have 4, right? And a brand new card in a deck that's been around for 2 years or whatever, having a 4 of just immediately go into the mana base. And most of those builds increasing subtlety is not a card that was always in always in Team of Rhinos. It's like a metagame call. It's a sideboard card, you know. And the addition of Lord and Revealed essentially turned it into a main deck card because you just have a bunch of lands that you can discard to it. That's great. But, it's just a land that's also a blue source, and that's crazy. And it only costs 1 mana to cycle. It's crazy. That's all. Wow, if you're a calc, you have to be so happy that it's cycle. Did he not hardcast a Force of Vigor? Or sorry, a Force of Negation on the ring? I thought he had the Force of Negation. He had both? Well, I played a league the other day, Thunderwunk, and I cast it 3 times in 1 league, so I don't think it's a 1 in 50. I think games go long in your deck quite a bit. How old is Kai? 45? No clue. He probably has a Wikipedia. He's probably the top 3 most famous Magic players. Yeah, the late game thing is not. So here's the thing about a Magic card, right? A Magic card has to be useful at least 1 time to be a viable game piece, right? If you have a 15 drop in your hand, but you don't have a way in your deck to make 15 mana, that's like a 0 out of 10 for your deck. Like it doesn't do anything, right? And then if you want to turn that down a little bit to like limited or whatever, you can say like, okay, this 9 drop in my 40 card draft deck is almost uncastable. It takes an extremely long game, and you have to essentially have this dead card for a while or get very lucky in a tight spot later in the game to draw it for it to do anything. So like the floor on that card is extremely low. And with Lorien Revealed, there is no there is no risk. And the reason there's no risk is because land cycling 1 is essentially the same thing as land cycling 0, in the grand scheme of things, it's very close. Obviously, it's not exactly the same, but like yo, Cam, cheers. Love you, brother. Cam says, Todd, a Callie, and a Cam walk into a bar. You think one of us would have been smart enough to duck? Oh, bang. Bonk in my head. Yeah, it's actually very close to land grant. Land grant's not in modern, and excuse me, most of the decks that abuse it in Legacy are like Charbelcher. They only play one land or whatever. But I've played land grant multiple times in my career when it was not a guaranteed cast in the opener. It was like there was one time I played it in Grix or like a Phoenix deck, right? There was like an Arclight Phoenix deck where you played it. Um, Anywho. But I also played land grant in like 13 land stompy in like an old standard format or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. There are just multiple times in my life where I've played land grant and it wasn't in a Charbelcher deck. And that card's crazy. And Lorien Revealed is not land grant, but it might be better. And that's fucking crazy to me. Right? Land grant's cool. Cam, I know that you've known this for a long time because I've known this for a long time. Magic is very clearly like the best fucking game ever made. It's fucking crazy. Like, I don't understand how they made a game so good. The engine, obviously they just had a lot of time to reshape it, right? They've had to change the rules a decent amount to contain some cards and they create new rules all the time, right? It's a living game engine and it's just such a fucking crazy awesome game. It's just been around for so long and we've all interacted with the game in just like extremely different ways and we're introduced to the game in different ways. But many of our stories are the same too. Hmm. It's already got one Ulamog removed somehow. Counterspelled. Yeah, I mean it wasn't always this expensive. But the thing is the longer a collectible thing exists, and if interest grows over time, if interest is growing over time in your collectible game, do you know how fucking crazy that is as an investor? Like early. I mean, like, I don't know. I've never owned a piece of Power Nine. I never bought any. When I was a kid, when I was playing, I think Black Lotus was like $300, and I think it was 300 for like Alpha Beta, like good old Black Lotus is because I looked up like the most expensive Magic card when I was in middle school. I was curious, and the most expensive one I could find was $300. But there might have been, Blue Twister or something might have been worth more, and I just didn't know or whatever. You sold your Time Twister for $150 in 2001. Yeah, if you've sold Magic cards at any point in your life, you likely regret it, right? But that's just because it's a soaring hobby with a collectible aspect. And that combination of things is just incredible for long-term investments, but obviously the bubble will burst at some point. I think most people expected the bubble to burst during COVID because people just didn't have as much disposable income. But what actually happened is that the government funded everything and everyone for like a while. And, like employers kept paying employees because they were getting PPP loans from the government. And people went to work from home and found things to do inside spaces where normally they wouldn't have shit to do. And people just kept making money. There's a huge float of wealth, monetary wealth from like the bottom 90% of income earners to the top 10% of income earners. It's almost like a one-to-one correlation all throughout the pandemic. And that sucks, man. Like that just means that the world's getting worse for everyone. And so like as this game grows somehow, I don't know how. Like it got bigger. I don't know how it got bigger during COVID. People couldn't play tournaments anymore, and so they got so fucking crazy, stir crazy that they all just started playing Commander. I guess Commander. Some people in my circles have like a negative outlook on Commander. The types of people that play Commander, the types of people who enjoy Commander. is not necessarily the same type of person who enjoys playing competitive 1v1 Magic. And as a result, they say nasty things, and I really don't like it. I really don't like to think about it. But if I'm being honest, I think Commander literally saved Magic. You know, it literally added value to Magic cards for, I don't know, at least a decade, right? At least a decade, Commander kind of carried Magic in singles, in interest. You know, I didn't have like direct numbers from people I worked with or anything, but like the general consensus among my friends in the industry was that Commander sales were soaring, soaring at all times, soaring. Whereas like singles prices of competitive staples, like from modern or extended at the time, standard, you know, they just weren't really there. Block constructed, that shit just didn't matter. All the new sets, like basically we just played standard and block constructed and limited. And so we were only interacting with like the newest six sets. And when you're only interacting with like a year or two out of like a 10-year game, cards aren't really that expensive for the most part. But like if you're only interacting with the first, 2 years of sets in a 20 or 30-year game, there's just so much dead space of cards because they just make so many every year. They make fucking what, over 1,000 cards, over 1,000 new cards a year for 25 years or whatever. That's just an incredible amount of stuff, just actual junk. And Commander, for the more unique and more fun parts of Magic, Commander created a space for those weirdo cards to shine and to do fun stuff. And even though it's not competitive in Legacy or Extended, or, there's not a reprint, so like it doesn't see the light of day for 20 years. There's someone who has a Commander deck built around snakes, and there's snakes from Kamigawa block, the Sakura tribe, and those folks, they have legends of all sorts, and those legends are now in someone's deck because of Commander. And it's not like non-existent that a 60 card snake deck wouldn't make its way to someone, but Commander has this really nice way of pulling in people that I think like a 60 card for a format doesn't really excite people. I think a 60 card for a format is way more cutthroat than a lot of people really like. And Singleton, you only have to buy one of anything. And it gives you the most free creative expression. And that's a lot of what people are looking for when they're deck building. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Commander was just like this. Everyone who loved Magic unconditionally liked Commander. Even I kind of liked Commander. I just don't like playing Commander with three people against me. I like playing 1v1 Commander because I'm just very competitive, and so I want to play 1v1 Commander. And I think people, that's like Canadian Highlander or Canlander. I think that's very similar to what I'm describing, but it's just like not a real format, and it's not played competitively for money very often or very close to me. And so so therefore to me it does not exist, right? It's not like a thing I can do on Magic Online, I don't think, you know. All right, here we go. Post sideboard Kai. Looks like he's mulliganing to 5 again. That's Flame of Venor. I guess just to do burst damage to get through the stupid snaring bridge. What's the big takeaways? Three Rhinos decks in top 8, but they all got pooped on by big mana. And scam is scam. We're gonna start calling it evoke, I guess. I'm not like a WotC fanboy, but there's a very good reason why they don't say scam. I don't know what it is, and so I'm just gonna call it Rakdos evoke. Whatever. Y'all can call it scam or whatever. I'm just gonna say evoke, and we'll just deal with it. Yeah, same boat, Joe. I only saw a couple of the matches, so we're kind of just chilling. Well, also, if they tweet the word scam, like, you just get a bunch of bots in your chat and your mentions telling you to do something or another. Sign up for this to so Greg can help you with your spam or whatever. Yeah, I don't know anything about that shit, Saucy Uncle, and that shit's stupid to me. You know, what should happen is just everyone agrees to a ban list, and then you build freely among the ban list. Having the points thing is fucking dumb because it's subjective. You know, any point list that you create is going to be subjective on power level. And so if you're not continually reevaluating all the cards in that manner, then you're going to change a card and kind of ruin it, and then no one will ever play it. And then it'll get forgotten about. So, Master Marshmallow, 15 months. Thanks for the prime, baby. Thank you, thank you. I love that the night stream watching old matches is just an extremely different audience from the day stream Pioneer. Like the people who like Pioneer are just always there in the day. And just like the sickos and goons come out at night. It's awesome. All right, Shardless Agents. All right, here's a rhino. Would you like to shuffle this dog shit? Oh, has he got the whale? Does he got the warping whale? It's a sorcery, right? It gets countered. You're 100% goon? Yeah. Goddamn right. Proud of it. Gagway! Saucy, we actually went back and watched a bunch of the old SEG Tour stuff. It was a lot of Legacy, and I remember Legacy very fondly. Like my years playing Legacy on the SEG Tour were so much fun, and uh, my first introduction to Legacy was very weird. I went to an SEG in Atlanta before it was just like one off, like 5K or something like that, and I went to a 5K in Atlanta, and it was Legacy. I had never played before. I borrowed a deck from a friend, and the only thing I could borrow was goblins. And they explained to me that like show and tell exists, the stink scourgers are for that. But I was familiar with goblins as like a clan or whatever. And I had played goblins before in various standard formats and a couple of extended and even legacy at some point when was it not matron, right? What was the one this banned? Recruiter? Goblin Recruiter is a weird one. Just takes a long time to resolve and creates like infinite loops or whatever pretty easily with food chain. Anyway, long story short, I played goblins before. This was like first time in playing legacy in a long, long time, or whatever legacy was then versus what it was now. And I just got my ass kicked by Storm a bunch, you know. And my deck didn't do anything against Storm. My sideboard had like one or two cards in it, maybe some of those one of those hate rocks. I don't remember, not defense grid, but like one of the ones. It was like before Chalice to the Void even existed. It was like a while back. Anyway, I played goblins, got my ass kicked by a bunch of combo decks, and I said I actually had a semi regular column at that point, I believe, on Star City, and I wrote my about my experiences playing the format, and I essentially said that if you're not playing Force of Will, you're doing it wrong. I'm not playing Force of Will in my deck, and I was essentially left to the whims of all my opponents. And that was when, like, I think Mystical Tutor was definitely legal. I think Vampiric Tutor was maybe not legal. I can't remember though, but Mystical Tutor was legal. Mystical Tutor is crazy. People were just like Mystical Tutor, untap. They were just like playing Reanimator with Mystical Tutor, just a broken, ridiculous interactive. Just a ridiculous tutor. Jay Court, thanks for the 8 months. Appreciate you. Anyway, long story short, um, I played Goblins in that event. I wrote an article about how you should only play decks with Force Will in them, or I guess like decks that require your opponent to have Force of Will. Essentially saying it was like an arms race, but I was only like 22, and I don't know. I don't know how to fucking explain my thought process, but I was essentially right. But the way I said it was like condescending and rude or whatever. And so like a bunch of dickheads on this one website called MTG The Source. I don't know if you may remember this, but a bunch of dickheads just like linked to my article and just started shitting on me in the comments for a while. And I saw it at one point and it was like really mean. And I was just a kid writing about magic and they were just like very mean. And it hurt as like I was relatively new as a content creator or whatever, and I tried to shake it off, but that shit just sucks, man. It does. It just sucks. But anyway, that was my first introduction to Legacy. I didn't really want to play anymore, but then I moved to Roanoke, Virginia, and I started playing on the SCG tour with regularity naturally. And after I started doing that, I just started having to play Legacy, and so I just got really interested in and into it. And then I just won a bunch of fucking Legacy Opens. So fuck all you MTG the Source guys. If you're in chat, you know, you know who you are, you motherfuckers. If you're in chat, I hope that there's one person that cares enough or whatever that remembers. All right. You stole one from me. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I did beat that ass. Anyway. Y'all see them? That's like mostly legacy. Whenever they start doing modern, I only won like one modern open. And modern I thought was well for a long time, it was extremely high variance. It was way very similar to what Pioneer is today, where your deck choice mattered a ton. And uh I don't know. Decks didn't really interact very much. And if your deck was like vulnerable to the card Lightning Bolt, you were usually just in a shitload of trouble. How does Rhinos ever beat a Wormcoil engine? I just don't think it's possible. I think Kai has lost the game. But no, my therapist said don't. You're liking the Mono Black Helm deck? I've seen very little of it, but I am vaguely aware of it. I have like a tertiary interest. I need some more wine. Anybody seen Barbie? I want to talk Barbie tonight. Y'all want to talk about Barbie? I don't want to do spoilers or whatever, but I don't know. When's it okay to talk about stuff? Or does it all have to be privately recorded with the words spoiler warning? Yeah, I liked Oppenheimer quite a bit. All right, I'm into it. So we found the Bounce It plus Blood Moon line. Oh, now we got Mystical Disputes. This happens to me all the time, Chad. I'm a big counterspell guy, and this is like my worst nightmare or whatever. Quad negation. Yeah, force pitch force easily. Force pitch force. Force pitch force. Yeah, you can or a green source, right? Let's see if old Kai Booty can get this one out alive. Oh my god. Lord revealed. Go get your island. Yeah, it is. Now he can hard cast force negation. Yeah. Being able to go get a basic island when you're under Blood Moon is great. Being able to get islands so you just, like, don't have to deal yourself damage, you know, a lot of good stuff about it. No. How to get green source? Did you not counter the chromatic? You goofball? You don't have any pressure. Why would you not counter the green source? Oh no, Broham. Not the foot guy. Oh yeah, Spunky. It makes me want to main deck it. I kind of want to main deck Blood Moons. I don't like Mystical Dispute anymore. Friendship with Mystical Dispute over. I haven't played against a blue deck in a dog's age, you know. Do you ever want to play Legacy again if they reprinted the staples? I just think the natural force of like a group of people liking a format or whatever is like way more important than just reprinting stuff or just like the idea of reprinting stuff. The problem is they're just like never gonna reprint stuff, you know? Old Bigfoot. Yeah, they're playing Questing Beast, but I think Murktide's better. Questing Beast requiring 4 mana is kind of bad. Where you can play Murktide on 2 or 3 all the time, and it's enormous. It's so big. Like if you go Violent Outburst into whatever, that's enough. But like you're also getting the Dead Gun sometimes. Your opponent hits you with a Thoughtseize sometimes. You get hard cast force negation, pitch force negation. It gets cheap really fast. Ice on 2. Like you're just playing instant sorceries at a greater clip than most decks that have a bunch of them. It's just significantly stronger in the deck than I thought it was. And if you draw 2 in your opener or whatever, you can just pitch one. Like you just have so much pitch equity with playing blue cards versus Questing Beast. Yeah, I agree, Spunky. Way more than I thought it did at first, but it took me like 2 matches playing with the deck to be like, oh yeah, it's great. I was not a believer like a couple months ago or whatever, but then the first time I played it, I was just like, yeah, yeah. Yes, RV, that's the deal. That is the gist of it. Game's over, man. He just doesn't have pressure. You can't just like play this counterspell game against him. That's all for Calc. There we go. All right. Well, we're gonna get in for 8, but Calc's at 30 from Wormcoil. Lol. You like Stern Scolding? I have yet to see it cast. Like it wasn't like I didn't see a match where it got cast on broadcast when I was watching. And it's brand new. So I'm very curious myself how it is. That's a lot of Sylvan Scrying in Calc's hand. All right. Rhino time. Give me 2 tokens. Oh, I meant to make a pizza. I forgot to eat. I'm hungry. That's I'll just make it after the stream. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing tonight. I'm gonna watch a little more tomorrow, I think. Yeah, I mean it does stop grief and puts it directly into the graveyard so they can't use it with Feign Death or whatever. It's definitely solid. How did Kai take so much damage? Got hit at least once, but I think twice with a Worm Coil Engine. before he could finally deal with it. It took him a while to be able to deal with it. No, Abraham, it's Rakdos Evoke. Red Black Evoke. I'm sorry. That's just what it's got to be. Icer Tower. Already played all four Force Negation. Plus, normal Fed Shocking. Plus 2 hits with the Worm Coil. You have to announce your floating calc. That's what I would have said. Oh, QB. Bang. 4 to you. Big deal, right? But it's going to eat the Rhino and the Ketria. Might be able to get all these red sources out of the way at some point. Might go for the 2 red sources. That's the One Ring. That's a game. Oh, that's a card too. Sheesh. Sheesh. I like the Chalice in the deck if you have multiples. I like being able to Stirrings into it on one or two. I guess you don't really want to do it on one. It's like a desperation turn one Chalice play, but I would not want to be there. But, you know, sometimes play it on turn two and find Chalice and then play it. Hell, Bobby, you can even play it on turn three. All right, it's Rhino time. The fact that the One Ring is unaffected by Oblivion Stone is embarrassing. Embarrassing. So close, and yet still so close. How much worse is Disc? Hmm. I think Disc is probably not as bad as, or Disc is probably better than O Stone. I haven't thought about that in a long time. Disc has not been a relevant Magic card to me in quite some time. Just because it's not modern legal or whatever. And just doesn't see any play in Legacy. Does Disc Exile? Disc was in MH2? That is news to me. Holy shit. Wow, that's wild. Oh yeah. Modern is it is the Wild West. There is no rhyme or reason these days, you know. The rules are irrelevant. This is a kangaroo court. It's fine, Ergo. It's powerful. It's good. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's any more annoying than fucking Living End or Fury or even Bowmaster. Like, I think Bowmaster is arguably a better card. I mean, I did not expect Raghavan's reign to end so quickly. And by gosh, I think Bowmaster done it. But one Bowmaster negating two Raghavans is embarrassing. Embarrassing. Beast of Bardic says, seems like yesterday I was talking about 18 months. Keep it up, buddy. Thanks for the 19 months. You know, I used to have a message I would send every month to a streamer I watched when I would sub to them. And I would say like 9 months. Man, it seemed like just about 8 months ago that I subbed to you. And now I know that I'm not special or unique. You want to see unbans? Yeah, me too. I don't love no Bowmaster sub game. I don't like the Bowmaster. I actually think Bowmaster is less healthy for the format than the One Ring. And I don't think that the One Ring is very healthy either. Is it raining in there? It just looked like like water was falling on top of the cards. What was that? Dust? Asbestos? The One Ring has destroyed Vintage? Right. Well, they should just restrict it in Vintage. Then it would be the One Ring. I actually think restricting it in general is very flavorful for the card, and that would also just balance the price, right? No one would need more than one. Yike! We in trouble now. Calcano's still at 16 too. This has been like Kai's like fighting for his life, but his draw this game was embarrassingly bad. You know, it's like turn 87. And I think every single Rhinos was answered. Oh yeah, draw some cards. All the forces are gone already. You're just tapped out. Now you're dead. Ulamagu. I know, Uncle. Ren and 6 is also a big freaking annoyance in my book. But Esper Sentinel is not as annoying because of Ren, and now is even less annoying because of Bowmaster. And I think Esper Sentinel was crazy. I thought Esper Sentinel was like a revolutionary one drop, essentially Thalia Garden of Thraben, but at 1 mana. And I thought white decks were going to widely adopt it. Bested the Juggernauts. Congrats to Calc. That's so cool. All right, here we go. This is game number 2. Simon Nielsen up 1 against Stefano Vinci. Just Teamer Rhinos versus Monogreen. This is the same matchup. I do too, Saucy, but like, if they're not going to do it, then that just has to be what we adapt around, right? That's the trouble. I think they should ban Lorien Revealed. 12 copies in the top 8. No, thank you. Get it out. What was the most prevalent card in the top 8? Was it the ring? Look, if you give me complete control of the modern ban list, and you're going to see a lot more than fucking Ren and 6 get banned, but whatever. Yeah, so if you ban Rin, you have to ban Ragavan, right? I think that that's fair, but like I think it's more fun to live in a world where you do have really powerful 1 and 2 drops rather than have to ban everything. The problem is that they built the house of cards. Ragavan is the natural conclusion to power creep. Like, I don't think that Ragavan will be topped as a 1 drop. I think if they ever make a 1 drop better than Ragavan, that they have fucking lost it. Ragavan is the most incredible 1 drop I have ever seen, and then I think that it makes Deathrite Shaman an embarrassment. And I think that they should have unbanned Deathrite Shaman probably 2 years ago. The moment they realized that Ragavan was essentially Red Deathrite Shaman or whatever, I think they should have unbanned it. I think it would have helped balance the colors a bit. You might have even seen like Jun play both. I think that would have been kind of cool. They can be your mana creatures that are also powerful. That incentivizes, more removal. Fatal Push becomes a staple. You know, Lightning Bolt and Holy Heat still exist. Fury still exists, so you still have checks and balances. Yeah, maybe you are super low to the ground and you play Dark Confidant. And I think we're kind of spoiled right now on threats. I think the threats are quite strong, and I wouldn't be surprised if like Punishing Fire got unbanned and they did some stuff like that to just kind of move the needle around a bit. But I think Punishing Fire also just kind of poops on the same types of things that Bowmaster does, and the same kind of things that Fury does. And so you're just kind of pressuring those types of decks even more when they don't need it. So I could see them just like ignoring Punishing Fire. I actually have a couple of cool bands that I think would see some play, and I would like them to happen at some point in my life. But yeah, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But I see some people 5-0 with it every now and then. Sir Chubbs. Question B. Well, I think it's more so just like Ether Vial decks are kind of bad right now. That to me is a bigger sign of something is wrong in the format, right? Ether Vial being bad, you know? It's simultaneously not good enough, but also extremely good. Like it's obviously insane on turn 1, but your deck is a nothing deck if you don't have turn 1 Vial. And there's no way to replicate it. And the only reason that Humans was ever good for a long time was because Noble Hierarch gave it some semblance of it, right? I gotta say that I think the One Ring's kind of cool, but I despise the second One Ring negating the first One Ring. It is maybe the least flavorful thing I've ever seen. It might get good again at some point, Spunky. I don't know, man. I enjoy playing that type of Magic. I enjoy the like Ether Vial into Recruiter, Flicker Wisp, Goblin Ringleader, Reflector Mage. I love doing shit like that. I mean, I think that that would be better, Lotus, but it would make the card maybe. So right now, I think the One Ring is like a 9 out of 10. And I think it would make the One Ring like a 5 out of 10, especially if there's no mechanism to remove the bird encounters, which is also it's not that like basically when you take the One Ring off, that's when you become normal again. And so it makes sense the way the legend rule works for it, but just playing a second ring should not negate the first ring somehow. Yeah, but then it wouldn't be anything. And then we would just long for the days where it did anything good instead of being a dud. How have you played the Flump combo deck? Is it just a meme deck or is there something there? GTFO, I don't think it's a real deck, but I haven't played against it and I haven't played with it. So I don't think that my opinion matters because I don't have enough context. I'll be honest. I don't know the combo other than draw your deck. I haven't taken the time to look at all the cards face up, but to me it just looked like draw as many cards in my deck as I want to make a orc that big. But is Flump both players draw a card or something? Like, do you deck your opponent? I don't really get it. If it's just draw my deck and make a big guy, that's fine. That's probably good enough. You deck OP? Oh, okay. How do you deck the opponent? Is it because Flump is both players? Hey, what's up, Travis? How's it going, man? Doing pretty good. 63 main deck? That's funny. Oh, so Flump is just both players draw. I just missed that it was both players draw. That's so funny. Wow, when's everyone gonna catch on and play 64 card decks? Yeah, Solitude seems like a very big problem for that deck. I feel like Simon's gonna win this one. This Oblivion Stone is tough. Yeah, and for that reason, I'm out. Yeah, I ain't into it. Travis, thanks for the 1 year. Yo, thank you for the 12 months. Appreciate you. Prime Gamer. Travis, do you remember when we got extremely stoned and watched Godzilla versus King Kong? Because goddamn it, if that's not a very pleasant memory. Oh yeah, modern is very fast. It's more so okay. I would like to perhaps I don't know. I had something I was gonna say. I think I'm just not gonna say it. It's no big deal though. Saucy says, I've been thinking about buying into Abzan Okiba. I want to try out Grimflare. Shame about Bigfoot and Push though. Yeah, you can't play Grimflare. We're in a different universe. We have not been in a Grimflare universe in Magic the Gathering since it was in Standard. It was in Modern for a very short period of time, and it was okay. But then everyone figured out how to use Death Shadow and Tarmogoyf together, and then it became irrelevant again. And then people just kept putting it in Pioneer decks for no reason, even though getting Delirium's impossible. Yeah, y'all don't know each other. Cam uh was one of the guys who shaped me into who I am at my home card store there in Birmingham. And Travis used to work at Star City with us, and then uh found other jobs and such, and lived in my house, well, my other house. What happened to the sound? Yes, can't take any blame. That's true. You know, one day I may be in prison, and we can't let people think that we were associated. You know, you got to keep them. Look, I'm just gonna show Your Honor. I have this piece of paper here, this photograph that shows Dark Kuna was a tier 2 sub to Tandy for 7 years. Is that right? 7. Yes, Your Honor. We admit. Oh, that's fair, Cam. I probably wouldn't come bail you out, but just because it costs too much. I don't got good enough credit. And he didn't want to draw a card. Yes. Yeah. Just use Ross's Bail Fund. You know, I after seeing his work with the Bail Fund, I actually donated to a bunch of bail funds whenever well, I don't know, at some point. I think we donated 1,000 to the Montgomery Bail Fund like 2021 or so, and it was largely because of Ross, you know. I think Ross is legitimately one of the most like ethical people or whatever, pure ethical people or whatever. I don't know. Some people hate Ross for being a communist, and some people hate Ross because he's not communist enough. And to me, that is fucking crazy, right? Because I see his positions. His positions are extremely radical compared to mainstream. And the only thing I can think whenever anyone else talks badly about him is like, I don't know, man. I think you're wrong. Oh my god, really? Yeah, but like being abrasive is not like a big deal. You know, some people like abrasive. You know, he's just very aggressive with his opinions about stuff and will be competitive about, you know, he wants to be the smartest guy in the room and he'll challenge you to it. And it's fun to him. And it's fun to me too. I like being around him. But it is also tiring sometimes. And he is rude a decent amount. And those are all things that just make him him, and it's our job to call him on it when we can. I've just like had to block, I don't know, like 10 people. Just had to fucking block people because of Ross and his political position. And because of that, I just know that like I don't know. Yay, yeah. How many are they playing? Two, four, six, eight? Who do we appreciate? It's Jaeger. Y'all can't see him, but he's right here. I'm giving him the business. But the moment I move my, there he is. You see him? I'm giving him the business. He's enjoying it. Jaeger. Y'all remember that old Sega commercial? Sega, but it's Yega. You don't like this meta? I mean, Kron just did good at the tournament. It was not a very big portion of the tournament, but it just rose to the top because it was good enough, you know? I don't know. No, you're not gonna attack the screen. That's not how this is gonna work today. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't want you to feel older than usual, Cam. I just want. I mean, we're just both adults. The older we get, the closer our age gap is, or whatever, right? Like on average. And now, you know, we just remember the same time in our lives fondly when we were younger, right? I think what last time I saw you, you were like under 30. You know, I was probably 24, 25. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I stopped being baby Todd when I started whooping all y'all's asses, though, right? I used to kick everyone's ass in all those dumbass games we swapped to at our store. Remember, we did. Oh, what was that? Dot hack sign. We played dot hack sign. We played Magi Nation. Oh man, we had to have played some other games too. That's fair. Yeah. I just remember so there was like people at that store that I looked up to at the time, still do or whatever. But I just remember there was one time where I beat somebody. I think it was Daniel. And I really liked Daniel. And he was older than me or whatever, right? Everyone was. But I really liked Daniel. And when I beat him, he just went like, God, you always beat me, man. Like, but he was mad, like he was kind of upset, but he goes, You always beat me. And I just kind of like felt bad about winning because I didn't want to, it's not my intent to demoralize. It is only to engage in sport. And if we're not having fun, you know, then something's wrong, and it's important to figure out why you're losing or why you're not having fun and try to get better, try to make it more fun again, right? If it's all about the 1v1 challenge, it is what it is, though. Jaeger, lay down, lay down, lay down. Yeah. It's not too late to book a last minute trip, Travis. It's not too late. It's just very expensive. Jaeger, lay down. Good boy. Oh, really? I was hoping I'd get to play some. Say, hey, Jaeger, you're famous. He's being a good boy right now. Normally, he's a terror. It's a big cat. He's a thick boy. We notice. They saw it like the first day. Very cool. Love to play the game that I'm interested in. Whatever. I just knew that I wasn't going to play this game. I'm just going to have to hope that my friends have two decks and I'll play the worst one. How much do you think the max packages or whatever, Travis? Because I saw the thing. It was like you can get a booster box, a bunch of starter deck shit, and some other trash. And like, I don't think they put a price on there of what it was going to cost. But I think if you just said, "Give me all the things," it probably cost you like $1,000 or something. I don't know how much it'll cost, but like they could basically charge whatever they want, and these people are going to fucking pay. And I don't like that. It's just like people are just so rabid for Disney content, and people who play Magic and love Disney are going to go ballistic for this fucking game. And I'm not as into it, but like I still enjoy Disney stuff. I understand the appeal. I will play the game. I want to play the game. They did put the price. That's good. Oh yeah, Crowley. The content is very good for this broadcast for sure. What's up, Taylor? How's the stream going, my man? Once again, want to shout out our sponsors for the stream. You can check out our Brainstorm Brewery podcast. It's a slice of life magic podcast with Corbin, DJ, and Jason. It also features one of my favorite people in the world way more regularly now than in the past. Caslin. They talk about Magic Finance, Commander, current events, and their lives. Check it out, Brainstorm Brewery Podcast. You can also check out our other sponsor, Apex Gaming. ApexGaming.gg for more info, but they have a tournament series out of Caldwell, Ohio, and we're going to be doing a big ass Magic weekend on 8/11 coming up in about 2 weeks. And 5K on Saturday, 2K on Sunday, two destination RCQs. It's going to be great. Make sure to come Caldwell and check it out on 8/11 Apex Gaming. Well, Taylor, I sent you more info. It's not you're not ready for Apex, just FYI. That's a thing with Metafy. Thought I sent it to you. Let me send you the thing. Well, Spunky, we're going to be having more events of very similar substance on September 9th as well as October 28th. Both those events are going to be a 5K and a 2K, both RCQs, both destination RCQs. Each main event has its own uh, RCQ. So essentially, 4 RCQ slots are up for grabs. And then what else? Each of the main events is also a qualifier for the Apex Invitational in December. And then what else? That's about it. Oh, you're talking about streaming. Excuse me. Excuse me. I thought you were still talking about the writing thing from the other day. That's my apologies. Oh yeah, make sure to come out though, Spunky, and say, "Hey, I'm Spunky Pungus," and I'll be like, "Fuck yeah, man! I'll shake your hand. I'll sign your baby. I'll kiss your wife. Or sorry, kiss your baby. I'll sign your wife. I'm sorry. I'll kiss your card. Sign your wife. I don't know. You get it." You see that home wrecker? Yo, every time we're there, like we eat there probably 2, 3 times, depending on what's going on that weekend. And it's pretty good, man. I don't know. I got a little spoiled in some of the places I used to work with wings. So they're not like my favorite wings, but they're fine. I think they put too much sauce on them. I always ask for light sauce because they drown them. They get soggy because they drown them so bad. But that's just like a clerical error or whatever. They could just fix that if people complained about it, but everyone around there loves being sauce flooded. You know, everyone loves extra ranch, everyone loves extra honey barbecue sauce or whatever. That's okay, Taylor. I think it's a pretty good deal. I think they almost get their money's worth in Ultimate Guard product. You should if you haven't, you should show them the package. It's like a pretty big Ultimate Guard care package. I think retail, it almost pays for itself. Ooh. I haven't seen those yet, Travis. Maybe that'll be something we start giving away next year, or I don't know, sometime later this year. I'm not sure. Tropical themed. Nice. I haven't hardcore, but I played a lot of games like it and like Magic. And I watched like a game or two between Bomat and Braden like a couple weeks ago. I was kind of getting it, but the big thing is the scoring. I just need to learn the actual mechanics of the game. From what should you play tonight? Pioneer. You should play your red white deck. Show them how it's done. Hey, Todd, do you use your Spotify for your stream music? Um, no comments. But no comments. There's a setting on OBS, I think, or maybe it's on Twitch VODs that it mutes. There's like a mute every input source except for your microphone, and so I mean everything on my VOD is muted except for my voice, and so I can just do whatever I want. It's almost pizza time, chat. I'm gonna need Simon to win this game, so we're gonna call it, and I'm gonna go make me some pizza. Show them the Thopters. I don't get it. Oh, you're talking about Taylor. Yeah. What pizza topping do I prefer? There was a place that I used to order from quite a bit where my go-to was uh feta cheese, and it wasn't pepperoni, it was like salami. I think it was salami. It was like salami and feta cheese, and the like pungentness of the feta, and obviously the like ultra fattiness of the salami was just very good on the pizza together. Yeah, feta's great. But if you're just talking about a one topping, pepperoni's the best. Pepperoni, bang for your buck, has a ton of flavor for very little substance, right? It's just like these very thin slices of cured salty meat, and but they have a bunch of spices on them, so you get like spiced cheese bread with tomato sauce, and that's pretty good. Mushroom olive pepperoni, that sounds pretty good. I don't mind black olives and pepperoni. Pepperoni just again has a lot of bang for the buck, and whatever else you do, it's fine. Excuse me. Well, Taylor, that would be a rosa sauce. Now, when you say Alfredo, was it like a can of Alfredo sauce mixed with a can of tomato sauce, or was it tomato sauce with a bunch of cream and Parmesan in it? Because a tomato sauce with a bunch of cream and Parmesan in it is fucking crazy good. Trust me. But if it's Alfredo sauce mixed with tomato sauce, it's probably good. It's probably good. It's fine. All right. Box checked. Well, so far, it looks like Stefano's just scraping for his life. We've watched two Team of Rhinos fight against two Tron decks so far, and every single game that I've watched between the two decks has Tron being miles ahead and Team of Rhinos needing to bend space time to and have their opponent forget to play a land drop on turn one. Basically, the most crazy shit has to happen for Team of Rhinos to win. That's all I'm saying. What we gonna do, Stefano? You got ice for days? Doesn't want to give it away. Tax. Bang. Nothing. Handshake. A little bit. All right, here we go. I kind of want to go make a pizza chat. Pretty hungry. Ah, ah. Jaeger. Say hello. Jaeger. Say hello. Say hello, Jaeger. 127. Meow. Meow. He's got Eugene, Someone's Crying, Dismember, Ulamog. So we're gonna go Someone's Crying for the other Urza's Tower, so we can cast Ulamog next turn. And I would guess Dismember on this Dryad. Essentially talking to like Rob or somebody yesterday at lunch about Dom. I my first couple of interactions with Dom were extremely negative, but not like he did or said anything that was too terrible. But he was just kind of dickish, confrontational, aggressive, you know? And it was just off-putting is all. But I did some casting with him, some work with him on the SEG tour whenever we did at home broadcasting, right? And talked to him a bunch over the years. He's a good guy. Why am I yawning? Blood mana. Amulet number 2. That's a Jeej. What kind of vino you got going on tonight? We got a little box wine, a little black box Cab Sav. I am not a wine connoisseur. We drink the cheap stuff around here. Huh. Hashtag not sponsored. What do you want, kitties? I'm getting swarmed. There's like three in my room right now. Callie's not here. She's at Gen Con already doing prep work. You ever had glue wine? No. I did uh eat a lot of glue when I was a kid, and now I'm drinking wine. I don't know if that's related. You ever had mead? Put a counter on your frickin' land, Javier. Oh, he thinks he's dead. He probably is dead. I'm just like watching Dom, you know. This is not my area of expertise. This is like a Ross deck. Whenever we played decks like this on versus, Ross would always like volunteer to play the math heavy decks. All right, what do we got? We need another Arboro Grazer, Summoner's Pack, Yogazusa. Nope. Is Arboro Grazer more mana than Azusa? Ross hates Amulet. Yeah, but he played it on versus, and I didn't. We all hated it too. Woo! Colossus time! Colossus time! Colossus time! One floating too. Oh, he has a stop there. That's rough. Actually, wasn't. That actually wasn't that great. Oh, so he did. He found a primeval titan, and I was just gonna get him. Nice, nice. It's always fun to Frankenstein your pet deck together with your friends. Weird iterations of the cards. I know I still have a bunch of signed cards and stamped cards and random shit, and a bunch of it, I got from buddies of mine or traded for them from friends of mine. Gilly, you got my man's address? Santa's address? Ooh, little Terra Sunder? Because if you know where Santa lives, I need to know. If you feel me. Wow, Dom didn't have A land or has bounce land? Has bounce land. I was kind of hoping Rayman would come back, Spunky. Oh, nice, Gilly. That sounds fun. Well, when Reprieve was printed, I thought Rayman was going to come back. Dude, Haywire Might slaps. Art's so cool. All right, chat. Choose my dinner. What should I get? There's like nothing open. Holy shit. Yeah, I wish we don't have Raisin Canes around here. Best we got Zaxby's and they close at like 8. Yeah, Haywire Might is significantly better than Quasali Pride Mage. That mana differential is just so ridiculous. There's always cookout. You gonna come pick my ass up? I've been drinking wine. I know you will. Should I leave the stream running while we go get cookouts and come back and eat the cookouts and still keep watching the stream? Or should I kill the stream and go get cookout and go to bed? I don't know. It's a tough one, chat. I'm sure you have strong opinions on the matter, and I'd love to hear them. Grilled cheese? I can make a grilled cheese. I can make a mean grilled cheese right now. He's going for it. Oh, he's going for Tron. Never mind. Oh, yeah, Spunky. Well, the more I got into cooking, the more I started to learn that some things were basically the same as other things. And their functions and the way their chemicals react to heat is very similar. And butter and mayonnaise are not really that close in construction. Think mayonnaise is what? Egg yolks mixed with a bunch of spices and vinegar or something. A little bit of olive oil or some kind of cooking oil. And butter, it's just animal fat with some uh dairy solids or whatever, right? Oil and eggs mostly, yeah. Anyway, but mayonnaise on the bread before you cook it. So normally the hack is to I don't know, like brush butter on your toast or whatever when you're making your grilled cheese. But for people who use regular butter and keep it in the fridge all the time, it's hard to spread that kind of butter onto bread without letting it sit out for a while or melting it or whatever. When I grew up, we used that country crock shit. When I my dad used that shit whenever I went to go visit him last week for like 4 days, and that's why I was away from stream for so long last week. But it was a great time. But when he was cooking, they were using that country crock shit, that fake butter, and I haven't really used that in my life since I started cooking. Tom scoops them up. Anyway, that shit's actually good for making grilled cheese because it's thin, like it spreads, right? That's the whole point of it. It spreads easily. Yeah, I did too. I did too. I like the taste of it personally, but it's like worse for you than butter, which is wild to think about. and I don't think it tastes as good as butter when you're cooking. But if you're making toast or whatever, it's a great butter substitute, and I'll use it if it's in the house. You know what I'm saying? All right, Dom, you better kill him. All right, so we go. Well, Cam, um, if you get into cooking, if you are getting into cooking, a lot of Indian dishes, the fat that they use is called ghee, and it is essentially clarified butter, which is they cook it like low just to melt it, and then they can separate the dairy solids from the fat, and then they just use the fat in the cooking, and so it's a much cleaner fry on like onions and garlic and stuff. That's the stuff. But obviously, butter tastes great. Clarified butter is not like worse for you, but it depends on how much you use. Same as anything. But you can cook at much higher temperatures with ghee. I know that you know, Cam. I'm mostly just talking to chat now, I guess. Yep. Yeah. We don't get Nawab as much as I want, but me and Callie get it every now and then. She didn't want Nawab for a long time. He's gonna find the fifth primeval titan. I'm very curious if Dom wins this game. My guess is no, but if he does, that means it's a very, very good win. Because now he just has to find Valakut and some like ways to bounce lands. You know. Yeah, Cultivator Colossus is great. Oh yeah, I can. Did you know that when it was first printed, it was in Saviors of Kamigawa. That was the third set of the Kamigawa block. The set itself was relatively weak and sales were underperforming because it was the third set in a weak block full of underpowered cards. And Pithing Needle was like a really good constructed sideboard card for like a couple of different decks. And it was a hard to find card for a little while because It was in an underselling third set. And so I think at one point Pithany was like 20 bucks. And it was such an expensive card at one point that a drafter at the Pro Tour, who was the feature drafter, I forget who, I think it was a Japanese fella, pulled the One Ring as like his first pick in pack number 3 and went like did like a hand motion like, money, like money money, and then put it in his pile. And the casters went fucking crazy. They were just like, "What the fuck? Why would he do that? Why would Pith and Needle's so bad and limited?" And then there was a game where he cast it in limited and it won him the game. It locked down, I think, the red. There's like a red channel creature that also had an activated ability to like tap to deal damage to an opposing creature. And he played the Pithy Needle and named it. And everyone in like chat, not chat, but like everyone watching was just like, "What the fuck?" Ghost Raider, that's the one, yeah. Feinberg remembers. That was a fun time to play. Yeah, it was. Magic was great then. Can I help you? He scared the shit out of me. It's in my face without my knowledge. Yeah, named Ghostlet Raider, and it locked down one in play and one in hand. I think Pithy Needle in limited. Book it. Oh yeah, remember? Was it Take the Skies or something? It was like 5 mana, return any number of planes to buff your guys. What was that card? That was in Saviors, and it like juice white weenie a bit during that PTQ season. I played a bunch of that deck. Well, more hardcore. I think the hype cringe argument is subjective, and I think that they were both awesome. Someone choosing money over fame or whatever. you know, just or just think of it like big deck energy. Oh yeah, it was Charge Across the Araba. That's right. I don't think it was very popular but I played like two in my builds, and it was great. Oh yeah, I did counter Jite. That's true. Maybe that was the secret reason to take it in case your opponent had Jite. Promise of Boonrai. That name means something to me, but I don't even remember what the card does. Was that the 3 mana enchantment that if one of your creatures died, you get 4/1/1s? Yeah, I would say that probably 80% of Magic players that exists right now, Travis, never played anything in Kamigawa, original Kamigawa. The populace in the game has ballooned tremendously. Exponential growth. Yo, Robbo, Robbie, Bobbert, Rob, Rob. You want to go to Cookout? And like whenever this match is over? All right. Whenever this match is over, that's your ring bell to come get me. Scooter, you inspired the Cookout. What do you want? Oh yeah. Hey, Scooter in New Hampshire or wherever you live now. You want to drive down to Roanoke and get some Cookout? Look, I told you 8 years ago you should move to Roanoke. Yeah, drive 6 hours. You too can have the most mediocre cheeseburger you've ever eaten for only $1 or whatever. All right, I should have texted you 6 hours ago, unless you know he's going to cook out in 6 hours. But 11-hour drive. See, all I know is that people should live closer to me. When they live closer to me, their lives are usually more happy, and when they move further away from me, their lives are worse. Maybe that means I'm great. Maybe that means I surround myself with great people, and then they grow up and go on to live full, meaningful lives. Cam, I need to find like a wealthy benefactor, or we have to become cult status, right? And we have to fucking, uh, extract all the wealth from our patrons so that we can build a brighter future or whatever. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you're having fun going to Disney every day, Travis. Hanging out in the sun with your friends, going to fancy restaurants and drinking wine. You don't have any trouble making friends. You're the life of the party. Oh yeah. Should we buy Rob, should we buy like a big warehouse downtown that has good air conditioning and turn it into a magic commune? We got like $3. It's more like $7, but it's still like $3. You're right. Well, MTGO Beast, I don't want to think about that or hear about that. So just understand that certain businesses have rules. I don't care about them. They're all bad. Every corporation's bad, but I need to eat. Every corporation is bad. End statement. Period. Motherfucker, they're open. I am hungry. You know? Yeah. Capitalism. Existing in capitalism. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just gonna sit in the driver or the passenger seat and tell Rob to order me cheeseburgers until I can't breathe anymore. How many is that, you might ask? I don't know. Couple hundred? That's true too. Look, all I know is Callie and I went to cook out the other night for milkshakes, and I ended up getting a tray instead of just a milkshake. And I only ate like half of it, and I felt bad. It's a lot of food for like $8. Can I help you? Can y'all hear him? Yeager. Can y'all hear this man meowing? The end of Javier, no. You're dead. Milkshakes and lasagna are the biggest things you miss. Oh, from being fucking lactose intolerant? That sucks. I think I remember you telling me that back in like 2019 or something. We were talking in the stream about it. It's so wild to me that your allergies change over time. Yeah, yeah, done with the fucking patriarchy. Capitalism is murder. Yeah, 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 yeah. We get it. Well, Cam, we call that willpower. And if eating cheese is wrong, I don't want to be right, man. No offense. I am all for not eating animals, but if you say I can't have cheese no more, I might have a problem. Cheese. Have you had cheese? It's such a simple, delicious thing, and you telling me that I can't have it is like a scathing review of whatever your ideology is. Hello, gamer weirdo. I did not know that we were family, young blood. Now watch the Guggen Japan vids? A little bit. I watch a bunch of his like on the plane. Here's what I ate on the plane in first class stuff. It just made me think like, I don't know. He does not have sun home activation, right? He doesn't have red and white. I'm sorry, Bobby. Can't blame Tron for the sins of others. You can't blame others for the sins of Tron. Oh, I see. I see. That's only 16, is it? All right. Tommy takes it. All right, chat. I am hungry, so we're gonna call it an evening there.